Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soul Stained Ink. My name is Beth, and today I'm going to bring you the Try a Chapter tag with a twist. Stay tuned. As you have probably gathered from that intro and this title, this is the Try a Chapter tag, but author's edition. And what I mean by that is instead of reading three different books, reading the first chapter out of each of three different books and talking to you about the book and what the first chapter was like and if I like it, what I'm going to be doing is going over and writing a little bit in each of four different projects that I have going on, and then coming back and talking to you a little bit about the story, what I wrote, and how I feel about it, in the hopes of being able to choose one thing to really focus on for writing in Nano this month. Because National Novel Writers Month started a week ago, and I have less than 1,000 words written so far. Yeah, let's get going. So this is my stack of notebooks here. I have four different things I'm working on. And yeah, I've been kind of sporadically working on them. The oldest one is a little over a year old, I'd say. Almost 2 years, something like that. I'm not entirely certain. But they definitely all require my attention. So the first one is the Stone Dragon Saga, Book 5. I literally have less than a chapter written in this so far. I started it last year and just didn't get very far on it at all. And I really, really need to continue. It's the last book in the Stone Dragon Saga. It doesn't even have a name yet, which is weird because normally they get names pretty quickly into the writing of them. That name may get tweaked, but they all get names. And this one, I think I've just been avoiding naming it because I don't know that I know where the end is going to happen or how it's going to happen. And this is my baby. I've been working on the Stone Dragon Saga for 10 years now, I'd say. 9 years, something like that. No, 10 or 11 years, because Dragon on My Neck was the first Nano one I had, and that was either my first or second year trying Nano, which this is my 11th year. So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on. I've got about 1,400 words written, so I'm going to go over that and come back to you in just a second and let you know what I think. Okay, it's been really good to get back into that, and I'm definitely excited to get back into the world of the Stone Dragon Saga and get back with my friends that are the characters in this book. It really felt like coming home to read that part and kind of tweak things here or there. So here is what I've got so far. The very beginning reads like this. The Krakens are growing restless, Miss Tilly trilled through the warm waters that meandered around the Florida Keys. How many are there? Jane asked with a sudden and unconcealable alarm. No matter how much she adored Sergio, Krakens themselves were still terrible and frightful beings. Oh, enough, Tilly smirked slyly at her human friend. Just remember, dear, at least they've agreed to join our side in the matter. It could be much worse. There's a lot more to it than that. That was just the first couple of paragraphs. But yeah, what I have of the story isn't much at all, but it's definitely enough to make me want to dive back in. That is a major contender for my Nano 2016. Next, I have this notebook, which actually currently houses a short story in the middle of a novel that I'm working on, which is why I have extra pens rolling around. The short story is one that I will continue working on off and on, but it's what I've been working on for the entirety of Nano and just haven't gotten much done with it. The rest of the notebook, however, houses the book The Way We Were, which you've heard me talk about before, I'm sure. It's about a group of friends who kind of randomly and seemingly without cause start having flashbacks and dreams of other lives. And they kind of realize that they're all having these dreams and flashbacks. And they realize that they all have lived together through multiple different lives. And then they come to find out that the reason all of this is happening now is because an old evil that they've fought before has decided to rear its ugly head and try to take over the world in a pseudo apocalypse. And they're going to have to try to stop it. Yeah, so let me see what I've got going on and I'll be right back. All right, guys, this is I cracked myself up because I based the characters, especially in the way we were, I based them off of my friends and the way we act together. And so reading this, I can actually hear like real voices and see my friends acting out the parts. It's absolutely hilarious. But anyway, here's the last thing I wrote, which was on October 10th. And it says, think about this. I understand the feeling that sometimes you just need space. But please, she whispered to the wind, please don't disappear. She begged the shadow. She begged the breeze. She cried, she screamed, and she left the shadowy space feeling decidedly unsettled. When they finally found Lee, however, he seemed less than concerned for her pleas. Of course, he was most definitely distracted in a most delicate of ways. The next part, which I did not continue writing because, as you can see, the short story started right there. I'm not sure what I was thinking, if maybe I thought this short story was going to wind up being part of the larger story and then it didn't. I'm not sure. But obviously, I don't have space right there, so I'm going to have to continue it on elsewhere. However, the next section is continuing on with finding Lee. They have found him in a guest house off of the main living quarters of the foundation. And the foundation is this really altruistic group of nice guys who it's kind of a fraternity that help out around the area in Florida where they live. The only thing is that Asmodeus, this big bad demon, is the man in charge, and they are actually being super nice so that everybody trusts them and they can take over the world. And Lee knows, but his new girlfriend lives in this guest house, and so he's disappeared over with her, and he doesn't actually give two hoots that he's in the devil's den, so to speak. And so there's going to be kind of some inner fighting going on while they're trying to get him away from this girl who is obviously working for Axel Gray, which is the human form that Asmodeus has taken to be in this guise. Yeah, this one's a good contender too, guys. I don't know what to tell you. I was really hoping because Emily Libke over at Julian Greystroke, the channel, she really likes to make fun of me because I work on more than one project at a time. I was trying so hard to find just one project to work on for Nano, but there's at least two right there. Let's see what the third one is. So this holds Polonius Punk and the Cruise Ship Conundrum. It is the second in a series of children's adventure books that focuses on Polonius and his best friend John and Polonius's little sister Sarah. And they are kind of an adventure group. In Polonius's family, when you turn 7, you inherit a legacy of like a blank journal, and you're supposed to go find an adventure and write it in the journal. So that's the first book follows Polonius trying to get his first adventure before his sister turns 7. He and John are both 9. And in this book, it is a couple of weeks later, and they are going with their families on a cruise ship. There's a stowaway that the boys are trying to find and a possible princess that Sarah is trying to locate on the cruise ship with their families. So I'm going to see what I've got and I'll be right back. Don't be alarmed. This is still the same story. I realized that I actually had written on Polonius this past week. On Friday, I wrote a little bit, but I didn't have his notebook, so I just grabbed an old notebook off of my desk and wrote that. So what I got for Polonius was, Polonius bounced a small ball against the cabin wall irritably. Pop was feeling absolutely wretched. And Grandpa Punk had wanted to rest, so the boys were once again relegated to their cabin until an adult came along to gather them up. While John was still busily writing out the events of their day, using every detail he could remember, Polly was snapping the red bouncy ball with a quick precision, wound too tightly to do more than throw that ball and complain. John was skilled at ignoring his best friend, but even 9-year-olds get cranky after a while. Polonius was on the verge of a grand stomping from his best friend when there came a loud knock on their cabin door. Bum, bum, bum. All right, and that's what I've got. And I enjoy the story and I'm looking forward to writing more, but it didn't grab me the way the other two did. So thankfully, it looks like I'm still only going to have to choose between The Way We Were and book 5 of the Stone Dragon Saga. But we do have one more contender. And that is housed in this awesome little clipboard thingy right here. It's called the Wishbone Tree. So wish me luck or wish that I hate it or something, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've read over what I have, which is literally just a page and a half of my great big handwriting there. And it's also literally just a quick scribbled outline. I apparently have never actually really started the book. However, I still love the idea of the story, which is weird because apparently I scribbled this down in August of 2015. So normally at this point, I would hate the idea and probably throw the pages away or shove it on a bottom shelf somewhere. However, this one I still like. It is a fairy tale continuation of Jack and the Beanstalk, in which a family is super poor and they have kind of a farmer's market booth and they only eat what they grow or what they can barter with the things from their garden that they put in the booth. So one day, the children, who are George and Frida, are working at their family's farmer's market booth when an old withered man approaches them. He is carrying a cane that has a carved cow head topper, a golden monocle, and wearing a top hat on which sits a small squawking goose. In payment for his bag of onions, the man gives George a hot roasted chicken. "This chicken," he whispers, "is magic, young man. When you finish eating tonight, plant the wishbone. Promise me you will plant the wishbone." So, yeah, I'm still really interested in writing this, but not quite as interested as I am in the other two books. So I might work a little bit on the Wishbone Tree here and there. However, I think I'm really going to focus on The Way We Were and the Stone Dragon Saga Book 5. I'm not sure which one is going to be the main focus of my work. So if you have any thoughts on the matter, leave them for me down below. I would welcome your advice, your thoughts, whatever. I might not take them, but I still welcome them because I really appreciate it and honor you for taking the time to watch this rambly video. Yeah, so I'm not going to tag anybody because while this is technically a tag, I'm not sure who would want to do it. If you want to do it, go ahead and then let me know that you did so I can go and watch it. And I'm going to go write some. So until I see you again, read something good and write something better. Bye.